No, I will not shut the fuck up.
No.
Hi.
So generations ended. The PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 and Wii. Who cares about the Wii?
Hey,
Does
apparently
anybody
everybody
care about the Wii?
Apparently everybody. I mean, it sold 100
It's
million.
not bad.
Okay.
Some games are terrible, but
I heard there are actually some decent games for the Wii U now.
A couple.
The Wii is cool, but it just really died off. Like, I don't know.
Like it had that initial attraction, and then it just
Yeah.
kind of.
Here's what I
and
discovered
it does.
about-
I mean, it does have some cool games that I would play. I'm just not into the motion
it was
thing.
kind of for old people that
Yeah.
were like, I can swing my golf club and play golf on a video game.
Or for the hardcore Nintendo fans that need Zelda
Yeah.
and Mario.
And all
Yeah.
those people, but I mean,
Pokemon.
Pokeball.
I tried playing a Wii. I had a bunch of games, but I only ever played Wii Sports, and I only ever played Super Smash Bros. And that was it. That's all I played for the Wii. And I probably played it for maybe about a month, and then I just
Yeah.
lost
I was
interest.
one of those faggots who had Rock Band for the Wii.
Wow.
Fag.
Yeah.
Fag.
Faggot.
I know.
Okay. I never had a Wii. I never found the whole appeal for the Wii. I mean, I don't know.
Motion capture. I mean, that was the entire appeal.
I
That
was
was it.
just never.
This is what I've discovered about Nintendo recently. They will innovate something like the motion tracking,
And the touch.
but
screen.
everyone else does it better.
The other thing was, I think it's the appeal of that is like, you know, from the beginning of gaming, there was like, you know, virtual reality is like the apex of what people want, and that's like the next step closer that nobody else was taking. And like, so that was the initial appeal. And I mean, it's in some games it's weird too. Some games would seem like they would be natural for the Wii. Portal,
Would have been awesome.
natural for the Wii. You could just point, you know, but like that never happened. But I
Point
mean,
my Wii at your face.
oh please.
Point your Wiimote at his face.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's do this.
Here goes the war.
Keith.
When did you start playing the I guess now past generation of games
I entered.
on Xbox, PlayStation?
I entered playing Xbox either 7th or 8th grade.
What the
Christmas
fuck
right
year
around
was
then.
that?
Either 2007 or 2006. Christmas of 2007 or 6 is the exact date I started, because I started playing Halo 3 on one of those dates.
2007. That's when it came out.
So it must have been 2007. So it was like 8th grade.
Yeah.
And it was fun. I enjoyed the fuck out of it. Like I said, I played Halo Christmas Day, and I was just like, I'd never played a first-person shooter up to that point, and I was like, oh my god. I've gone back and played a bunch since then, but it's like,
Yeah. Sam.
Probably whenever the PlayStation 3 came out. That was when I started. I never really played Xbox 360 too much. Unless I've been with Tyler. That's pretty much the only time I've ever played it. I've always played PlayStation or Nintendo a lot more, but yeah, whenever PlayStation 3 came out, that was the time I started playing.
You just recently got a PS3 too.
That's because Sam's secretly Japanese, so he's
Did
all
you get the
Sony,
super
Nintendo.
slim one, the one that opens up on the top?
That's what it was.
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's those
To
days.
begin with,
cool.
my brother got one
Was it the
whenever
dome?
they came out, and I
The-
played a lot with him.
Did he have the big fat one?
The dome.
Whatever one it was when it came out.
Yeah, it's a fat one.
I actually didn't own my own Xbox 360 until my freshman year of college, about 5, almost 6 years ago now. But I mean, I played games on the 360 probably not long after it launched. So
Old.
And now we're gonna turn the question back on you.
Oh.
Huh?
I don't remember exactly when. I got my first Xbox 360 in 2006, like late 2006, and I got Call of Duty 2, and I shat myself. I'm like, this is so good looking. And then I got Gears of War, and that was it. Gears of War instantly became one of my favorite games. The first one, that was the first game that, you know, I saw multiplayer for it. I'm like, Mom, get me Xbox Live for Christmas, please. And so I got Xbox Live, and then that was it. That game was amazing. That game, if we talk about games that just defined this generation, I feel like Gears of War is arguably
Yeah.
one of the most important, if not the most important, because it showed off what these games could look like. At the time, it was the most beautiful game out there. And then, multiplayer was just amazing. It was just so good for it. And the storytelling and just the epicness. It was just crazy.
I mean, it's made by Epic Games, so I mean, it kind of has.
If you had to pick one game that defines this generation of consoles, what would it be?
If I had to pick one game, I would probably pick.
It doesn't have to be your favorite game. I'm talking about what defined this console generation.
The game that I think did the best, like, showing of what this console generation was made of, I would say probably be like Assassin's Creed 2. That was the first of these like next gen games that really well, past gen that really floored me.
Yeah.
Like just the open world nature and just the freeness. I never had so much freedom in a game. I was like, I didn't know what to do with myself.
Even the first one was pretty awesome because of the whole crowd. That was never done before. and
Yeah.
all
Well,
that stuff.
I mean,
but
I was
then
gonna go
the
on to
second
that.
one
Like,
is what kind of took it.
the original Assassin's Creed redefined what a stealth game was.
Right.
And the whole idea of it.
So, yeah.
Sam.
Aside of all the Call of Duty games that were super popular, I would say Grand Theft Auto 5 because that probably made one of the biggest splashes of this generation of stuff. But
Yeah.
the Call of Duty games, I mean, that whole series just was huge for this generation. I mean, not that it wasn't, popular before or no one knew it before, but Modern Warfare came out and
That changed everything.
Well, it was,
Modern Warfare.
I think it was the concept of online multiplayer.
Which had been done, but hadn't been refined.
And the
as much.
progression system, and then you took the campaign that was just godly. It still is, and it's still so good. And just these really tense moments. There was nothing really like that.
I also think it's really funny. You say GTA 5, but that's like
Late gen.
late. So that's like
But it still
It's still-
defines a lot.
it does. Like it kind of does hit everything.
It defines what this generation was striving for, I think.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably like its last
The last hoorah.
great
Yeah,
game.
because it was just it had a pretty good story, and it was kind of this living world in the multiplayer. Just kind of the way that blended together, it was pretty.
And I think that is the defining, like the actual defining part of this generation. This
That
was the
pinnacle of
generation
this generation.
this is the generation of online play.
Yeah.
Like literally, slowly but surely, everything became infected with some form of like online, at least co-op, if not online multiplayer. Just about everything got infected with that, and so much stake. Instead of E3 being all about games, it became also about upgrades to the online system and other things.
downloadable.
DLC,
DLC.
which is
I
I
have
don't think
such
that was
a love-hate relationship with DLC.
that wasn't like Xbox or PS2, was it? They didn't have.
Neither one.
I think
no.
I don't think so.
Because they had a big map pack for Halo 2, but they put it out on like a disc. I remember that.
No, though you could get
What?
Halo map 2 map packs online. I thought as well.
Maybe, but I think it wasn't
Off of
like
Xbox Live.
almost as necessary. Like now, you kind of have to get it off of Xbox Live. There's
Yeah,
like this thing.
I also think storytelling just went to a whole new level this generation. I mean, look at I don't know, both Bioshock and Bioshock Infinite, or
Or
The
Bioshock
Last
2,
of Us.
Bioshock Infinite,
Just
yeah.
the way they tell stories in this almost movie-like nature with this really realistic mocap.
It became
and
very
just-
cinematic.
It's very cinematic. They make you actually really care about what's happening, and you get really attached to it. And
Yeah,
there's
that's-
nothing.
yeah.
like
Storytelling
that.
was definitely so much better because again with the motion cap, it was basically they were now looking more to move instead of looking to more. Previous gen was more based on fairy tales and stuff like that. A lot of that. And this was more based on real life and movies, and that had a huge impact.
And the way both consoles evolved, though, was pretty crazy because, I remember the 360 when it had the blades, and now it has this big, dashboard, and there's, the way you can interact socially with things and all these different social features. Fuck, you can watch TV shows, you can download movies, and just the way that evolved. I didn't see that.
I honestly hated the new dashboard at first. I honestly did. I was like,
Me too. I loved the blades. I
Yeah.
thought they were so simple and cool.
And now it's like, wait, this actually kind of makes it smoother, slower. It makes more sense.
Right.
The other cool thing I think about this generation, this was also the because it didn't exist before this, indie developers really took off this gen. You got games like, a game that I was honestly addicted to for about a month or so, Happy Wars.
Or what's that game on PlayStation that everybody really enjoys? Journey.
Journey.
Supposedly that is just mind blowing or something. I don't know. I haven't played.
Like,
Honestly, I think the defining indie game of this generation was Limbo. Limbo was the
Right.
first, and it was creepy, and it took you on this emotional roller coaster ride. It was all black and white, pretty much, but it was just a critically acclaimed.
Geometry Wars, man. Geometry Wars.
Oh, yeah,
the
Geometry
bomb.
Geometry Wars.
I played
never
the
played
fuck
it,
out
so-
of that.
I'd almost count it maybe a little
You
bit. I mean,
know,
they've
the-
gotten big since then, but I can almost count Minecraft.
Like the Xbox Live Arcade. That's something that was just so cool.
Like, and then
just small little games.
I just think this generation just kind of, it went beyond games, very much so. The Xbox and the PlayStation went beyond.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think in some ways, like, there's a lot of good things from it. The cool things, you know. If they didn't go beyond games, we wouldn't really have Xbox Live.
Yes, I almost think it had to happen. It was an evolution that had to happen at some point.
Yeah, but then you get things like, you know, there's, you could argue that maybe they're Xbox, especially Xbox, and that's where I'm getting most of my experience from. Xbox is spending, you know, more time changing how the dashboard looks than they were actually fixing some of like the problems they were having with Xbox Live. You know, but I mean, you get cool things. You can get Netflix. You get Netflix on your Xbox. That's awesome.
That's pretty cool. A lot of people use that.
You know, there's a couple other things.
And then the online transferred now over to handhelds.
Yeah, it's
Which-
like
That's true.
Sam here has probably the most experience with handhelds out of all of us, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Is that a sexual reference?
Only slightly.
It's what you will make of it, sir.
The other thing, which
Sexually.
was the thought that I had, which is like, I love how just almost, it's weird if you look at how the two main consoles this generation, the Wii, you know, had its thing. The Wii did its own thing. I don't even really consider Nintendo like a part of the console like competition
It's not
too
a
much
console.
anymore.
It's not in the console wars now.
Nintendo does its own thing. Nintendo will never bottom out. They can just keep putting out Mario, and they will.
Nintendo's kind of the more of the innovators, do.
Yeah,
Almost.
like I said, they innovate in things and they bring new stuff, but everyone else just does it better.
Right.
Yeah.
They are Switzerland in the console wars.
But like, you look, Xbox kind of coasted a lot of the ways. Xbox was kind of consistently kind of at the same level.
Because they got out first, the PS3 was $600.
But like
The PlayStation Network sucked dick for like 4 or 5 years.
and then it got hacked.
Yeah, that's why
It's
the
like-
Xbox sold so much. But I feel at the end here, the Xbox just
Didn't do
I
as
don't-
well.
I don't enjoy playing it as much as I used to. Because I feel that they just gave up on everybody. They put barely any games out this year, and if they did, they kind of blew dick, like Gears of War Judgment.
Yeah.
They were just disappointed. It just kind of was like,
Coasting.
all right, we can still sell a bunch of.
Because
it's that,
next-
that coasting mentality.
Well,
They
because
were-
they knew next gen was coming out soon, so
But
they're like,
so did PlayStation.
But
They're
PlayStation-
pumping them out.
But that's because I think Sony now is like, all right,
Sony's
yeah,
got-
we blew for 4 or 5 years,
Yeah, Sony had a lot of making
and now
up
we're
to do.
getting our shit together. But they're actually giving gamers what we want.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Xbox 360. When I think of it, probably just because it's the new consoles that are, pretty much out now. It just feels really old.
Yeah,
It technically really is old. It's 8 years old. It just feels old. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because the PlayStation 3 is a little bit more powerful, I don't think of it as old.
Yeah, I see.
360. That's
I always see the PlayStation 3. Oh, like I don't own one because I mean it's fun and I like a lot of the games that are coming out for it. But like at this point, it almost just
it almost seems pointless to buy new games.
to get one. I mean, the games that I would play really hardcore is I would play Kingdom Hearts and I would get The Last of Us, and but basically, if not, I could get basically everything else for the 360, which was a lot of what kept me stuck on the 360. Was for a while I thought, besides like God of War and a couple other games, PlayStation just did not do
Having
that
a
well
solid
putting
title.
It
out.
wasn't until like 2009 that they really.
And at that point, I was already hook, line, sinker, and I was just stuck on Xbox for this gen. So,
And Killzone never really took off.
well,
for
it
a
did.
while.
It did.
Killzone was supposed to be the Halo killer,
Yeah.
but it never happened.
Well, who knows? I mean, the new one, but I mean, that's
well, yeah.
that's a different topic altogether. So,
What's a franchise or game that was missing from this generation? That just should have happened.
that should have happened. I mean, I'm gonna sound really
Or a
redundant.
franchise that was there, but it just was not up to snuff of what it
A
could have or
franchise,
should have been.
a franchise that barely exists this entire generation. I know Luke will agree with me on this. It's like besides 1.5, Kingdom Hearts literally just did not exist the
It
entire
didn't exist now.
of the
At least on
PlayStation.
consoles, handheld, yes.
That's what I mean. On the handhelds, but then the consoles, it did not exist. Like, I felt like that should have been there, and I mean,
Duke
I
Nukem
really,
Forever should have come out
a lot earlier.
11 years ago.
But then it should have came out for previous gen. And so I mean, it's just that to me is like they literally skipped an entire console generation without adding a new installment. That's just stupid to me.
Definitely some of the older games, like Crash Bandicoot and
Yes.
Spyro.
Yes.
I mean, even though those were more fun arcade whatever games, and this new generation, like Keith said, is or like everyone's sort of been agreeing on it. They've been based on movies and real life and stuff, and Spyro and Crash were cartoon fun games, but I still felt that they should have had their place. And Spyro. What do they have now? Skylanders or
Yeah.
something?
It's
That's
huge.
like a spin-off of
It is
Spyro.
huge.
They're gonna make
But
money off that.
Spyro
They
is
make a
still.
stupid amount of money.
I mean, Spyro's just kind of classic, and I felt maybe some sort of throwback Spyro game.
I think they've tried. Is that none of them have taken off. They don't have the flair that they used to.
Yeah, I would say that, I mean, kind of agreeing with Sam here, with the Spyros and the Crash Bandicoots kind of being missing. Platforming games themselves just seem to be entirely absent this generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the exception of maybe the Prince of Persia reboot they attempted, which was okay. It was a different art style, it was a different
Game.
way of gameplay. But that was really the only platforming game besides like Darksiders and Darksiders 2, which I only played Darksiders 2, that had any sort of platforming element to them, because I'm really not including anything with the Wii.
Yeah.
If you ask me if there's one franchise that I really wish was on this console generation, it is Jak and Daxter.
Yes. I missed
Yes, I
Jak and
know
Daxter.
Naughty Dog made Uncharted, which is a great franchise, but fucking Jak and Daxter. That, to me, when I think of PS2, I think of Sly Cooper, Ratchet and Clank, and Jak and Daxter. Those three.
Like
It-
we had a PS3 reboot, so
Yeah,
why not
I
Jak
know.
and Ratchet?
Exactly,
Well, even
like,
Ratchet and Clank did.
There's
too.
just a void there that is missing, and I would die if they put out a new Jak and Daxter game. I would just go insane.
Yeah, the Lost
I would be
Frontier
so
was not
happy.
that good.
No, and Jak X wasn't that good either.
Well, it was just a
It's-
racing game essentially.
I know, but they made Crash Team Racing. Naughty Dog did, and that was
Yeah.
godly.
Yeah, that's true.
So I wish that was there. It may be one franchise that could have been up to snuff. I mean, it really tore a lot of people, and
Final
they-
Fantasy 13.
yes. You look at Square Enix in the past, like with PlayStation 2, they were pumping out Final Fantasy games like crazy, and I just feel this generation, they just kind of like,
Well, this
Sat
generation
on
they
their
put
dick.
out. I think they put out everything from 11 since. But then
No,
they've been.
12 was on. I got 12 on the PS2.
Oh shit! So they really have only done 13.
13,
But that's like they've
2
had, like,
versus 13.
They're trying to do too much. That's their problem.
I mean, yeah, they tried to make it more cinematic, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But 13 was just a good story, but not a good Final Fantasy game.
15 looks awesome though.
Yes.
So, I mean,
But
yeah.
once again, it's not back to that Final Fantasy that everybody likes, the turn-based. But
I'm okay with
sucked up.
it not being entirely turn-based. Like, I played 12, and 12 was a very fun game for me. It wasn't entirely turn-based. You could choose, because they would have, like, the monsters basically roaming around in the maps, and you could, travel the world and stuff like that. But you could choose to engage the monsters or not. And it was still, you had the time, it was still the build-up time until you could attack again and all that stuff. So,
So, this console generation, I think, is the best that there has been. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, I was
you
not
kind of expect it to be, though.
Yeah, and so I mean, like we said in our next gen video, I see nothing but great things coming from it. I mean, if it's anything like the progression of what this generation was, next gen will be mind blowing.
What is one thing that has really kind of that changed the game about this generation of consoles, really, in you guys' opinion?
Definitely online multiplayer.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Just,
What do you think?
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that
The ability to play with anyone in the world.
though I will admit that does take away from that nice like
That couch co-op.
the couch co-op, like playing Super Smash Bros. And the dirty tricks, playing and trying to smack the controller out of the person's hand so you can win. You lose that kind of that playfulness in playing games. Now everything's professional and you gotta try hard and it's all serious.
I just remember the game we were talking about earlier, Gauntlet.
Yeah.
I remember not long after I turned 21, we still had the N64, and we just got retardedly drunk one night and we were playing Gauntlet for hours.
Like
Or playing the original Smash Bros.
yes,
It was awesome.
it's just that's been missing from this gen. I definitely feel just that feeling.
Split screen and couch co-op, I think.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm completely happy with where this generation went.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of really good games. Well, let's finish up with this, I guess. What games do you still have left to play this generation? Sam, we'll start with you. What do you want to play? They haven't yet.
Nothing really. I pretty much played. I'm not a person that is too into video games. I mean, I like it enough, the video games that I like, but I've played the ones that I wanted to play.
You played every Pokemon game released for this generation.
Yeah, I played a couple of PlayStation 3 games, a couple of Xbox 360 games, but I mean, there are a lot of games out there that people are fond of, like Dead Space or Gears of War or Halo, that I've just never been all that into. So that sort of limits what I've wanted to play, and I pretty much played what I wanted to play so far to get the feel of everything.
I'm not going to include like games that are still coming out because I probably will play like Lightning Returns or any of the other games that are coming out that are still going to be on this gen. But like games that I still want to play Splinter Cell Blacklist. That's a game that I feel that I didn't get a chance. I want to play Dead Space 3 because apparently, God, that almost got a 10 out of 10 from IGN. So that's
Game
and Game Informer. That seems like a really good thing. And this one, it's kind of a weird one, and it's kind of random. And I don't know how this went under the radar for so long, but they remade Bully for like the 360, and I kind of want to like.
I had that. For
I want to get that because I want the feels, the nostalgia feels. So that's really cool.
Bully was cool. That's a franchise I hope comes back next year.
Yeah.
I have yet to play Arkham Origins. I'm hoping I get that either for my birthday or Christmas. Splinter Cell Double Agent, I heard, was really great.
Splinter
and
Cell
I
Double
missed
Agent.
it.
Conviction, I heard, is really good too.
Conviction was eh. Was Pandora tomorrow this gen, or was that like PS2 or Xbox?
PS2.
And then Chaos, there was also PS2, yeah. But I mean, Splinter Cell Double Agent and Splinter Cell Blacklist are two that I kind of still want to play yet.
Skyrim. I have to play Skyrim.
You might want to hold off.
I've played it, but I haven't played it.
You haven't sat down and given it like a good solid
You haven't-
8-hour session.
You haven't put the 130 hours that I've put into Skyrim.
Yeah,
I've done
I want
one
to play
character.
that.
Yeah, no, that's one character too.
I want to play that. I want to play Uncharted 3, and I can't really think of
Yeah,
anything.
I never
else.
played any of the Uncharted,
That's a
but then
good
again, I
game.
never
I got
played.
that one.
I mean-
Uncharted 3. It's pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
There's the 2.5, but that's already kind of been out.
And I want to, I don't know, possibly play Final Fantasy 13.
I would have let you
I've
borrow it
never
if I
played
traded
Final
it in.
Fantasy games, so I want to.
It's probably the least Final Fantasy game.
possibly Red Dead Redemption. That's about it.
I can let you
But-
borrow that. Yeah.
But I mean, most of the games that I truly want though are like HD remakes of like Ratchet and Clank and Jack and Daxter games.
I'd like to
get
get the Halo HD remake and play that, just because I never played the original Halo.
It's awesome.